Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. It's Nick Granville coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. It's got a blues club gig coming up with my buddy Neil Billington, harmonica player. And it's kind of messing around with some sounds in my Fractal FM3, which is what I'm going to take to that gig. And I accidentally stumbled upon these two sounds. And I've sort of discussed that today. I think what's happening is I might be actually becoming too kind of predictable in what I'm going to do with the sounds I'm doing in this Fractal unit. You know, I know what works, and so I do that all the time instead of experimenting. So I'll show you my thinking, how I got to this point, and maybe what I might do differently going forward. All right, so first sound I wanted was this sort of breakup sound, and I went for my go-to at the moment, which seems to be the Lone Star by Mesa Boogie, and this is called the Texas Star. It's this sound here. Really great. So drive set about 6 or 7. I've got a 1x12 with a ribbon mic and a 2x12 or a 4x12, whatever it is, with a dynamic. So 2 cabinets blended like I do in the real world. I was kind of going to build my whole sound around that. And the idea being that I could just turn my volume down. Come on. And I've got clean and... Now I've got overdrive because I've got treble bleeds on this guitar and on the guitar I'll probably take, which will be my DGT. And then I set up the same sound, but I do add delay to it. Sound like this. So it's a pretty subtle kind of thing, but it just sort of makes it sing a little more. And then I'd have the same thing, but with a tremolo. Because a blues gig, I'm going to play tremolo at least once on the gig. Right, and then on the alternate patch to that I have rotary. And that's kind of when I want to try and sound like a Hammond organ, because it'll be a trio. I'll probably do that at least once on the gig. And then I have a lead tone, which is built off this. Same as the sound before, but adding a clon in front of it and a bit of delay. Right. Oh, it's a bit noisy on single coils. And then I have the same thing, but add a Zen drive instead of a clon. So that's all good. And then I was thinking I'll just have 6 kind of scenes and that'll be the end of it, right? And I accidentally was doing something and I kind of went to scene 7 instead of scene 4 or whatever I was intending to do. And I was like, whoa, this is a cool sound. And it was totally by accident. And what had happened was I'd set up a clean sound, a clean version of the same amp. I'll jump onto that now. But the reverb unit in the Fractal had actually switched from my normal reverb, which was like some kind of medium hall room or something, to a really short reverb. And you got this. It almost sounds like slapback, but it's slapback reverb instead of slapback delay. Like you're playing in some kind of small bathroom type thing. Has all that kind of pingy thing that happens in the room. It's really cool. So that was a complete accident. And it made me think, are my reverbs becoming predictable? I'm always using the same one because I know what works, so I just go to that and be done with it. Maybe it's time I kind of rethought that. And then I thought, well, what happens if I hit scene number 8? And this was completely by accident too. I've since renamed them, so this is now named Rotary Plus Trem. But it had both the rotary sound and the tremolo going at the same time. And you get this. I love that. Which is kind of chaotic, right? But it's completely fresh, and I will use that at some point in the gig. I'll hit on it, and that'll be a sound like that I want to use when I want to kind of create something a bit chaotic, right? And it kind of made me think, like, am I falling for the same things? Like, tremolo and rotary don't go together, right? Why not? In these fractal units, we can do whatever we like. So I've kind of made a pact with myself that I'm going to start experimenting more with this. Instead of going to my go-to things, right? So the Lone Star was one that I've used in terms of amps. For the longest time, I used the Vibrato Lux. That was my favorite Fender emulation in the Fractal. I'm like, why don't I just try something different, right? Or the Friedman, that was what I used for my overdrive tones when I want more of a rock lead tone. So I kind of thought, yeah, I'm just going to, it's kind of made me think, I need to experiment with more with this, like actually experiment. Instead of just going for something that I know works and doing more of the same, right? Because these things are powerful. And the thing is, the point of entry to experimenting is kind of already there. I've got the unit, so I can just do whatever I want with it at this point, right? Different thing if I had, say, an amplifier and I wanted to experiment with a different amplifier. Well, there's a huge outlay and cost, isn't there? But there's no outlay with this. I've already got the unit, so I can just do whatever. Isn't that such a cool sound? I love it. I've seen Joey Landreth kind of talk about that, where he is into like 2 tremolos. I think he even had an amp built, maybe, by 2 Rock with two tremolos in it. Such a cool sound. And you see with my volume down there, it's kind of cleaned it up quite a bit. So it doesn't have to be maximum chaos. It can be just a little bit of chaos. Let me know in the comments, do you find yourself kind of going to the same thing? And the same thing happened with pedals. I don't think this is about the Fractal for me. When I had pedals, I would set them the same way all the time, and then I'd, my delay pedal, for example, always stayed on the same preset or the same 2 presets. When I used the Timeline, I had the short little delay that I showed you earlier, and then I'd have a loud one for like the edge type stuff. And I found that with pedals, same thing, I kind of get stuck in this thing of going, well, this works, so I'm going to keep doing it. And I think there's some merit in kind of exploring things and going, yeah, this works, but what more can I get out of it, right? And I think that's been a big timely reminder to myself. The other thing too is I'll often use this with pedals in front of it, because that's one of the beautiful things of the FM3 is you just plug a pedal in front of it. It's so small and light anyway. A pedal's not going to take up too much more room, and now you got a different thing, right? And kind of. Yeah. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you all being here. I post every day on YouTube. If you like what you're seeing, then please subscribe and like the video and all that kind of stuff. Drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know your thoughts on this, like genuinely. I'll play out with that funky slap reverb. That thing. By the way, I pretty much never play in position 4, but there you go. Cheers.